Hello guys, welcome back to Beyond the Realms. I am in the midst of moving. Actually got everything moved now. It's just a matter of setting everything up, and as you can see, I have the 6-foot talking Freddy here once again out of storage. It'll be joining this horror / movie room that is in complete disarray right now. So, I'll do an official, movie room video eventually. But for now, I'm going to be talking about the film that I went and saw today. I was able to take a break from moving, step out for a little bit, and we went and checked out Rob Zombie's latest film, The Lords of Salem. Now, this is getting very, very mixed reviews all across the board. Some people saying it is a complete and utter piece of shit, and other people are calling it, a very great film that they enjoyed. So, it's all over the place. It's a love or hate it type film. Now, I actually went and read the novelization of this recently. I found it on iTunes. I went and read it. I did do a written review of that, and I really liked it. I really liked it a lot, but when I was reading it, I was thinking, man, there's a lot of things in this book that are going to be very hard to translate in, cinematically. And sure enough, that is definitely the case. But for those of you that don't know the story of the Lords of Salem, I'll give a brief rundown here. It tells a story of this coven of witches back in the 1600s, performing a satanic black mass, dedicating this baby to Satan, and they are hunted down by John Hawthorne and his men and are killed. And basically they vow revenge on the heirs of John Hawthorne and the people of Salem. So flash forward to present time, we run into Heidi Hawthorne, who is a DJ, along with Herman, which is Heidi Hawthorne is played by Sherry Moon Zombie. Herman is played by Ken Foray, and the other guy, Whitey, is played by Jeff Daniel Phillips. And they are given this record from this band called the Lords. They play it, and it kind of like casts a spell over the women of Salem. They all just take notice. Like women are listening to the radio, they hear the song, they look over, and it's this weird droning sound, very bizarre sounding. And but it has a different effect on Heidi. It makes her very sick, makes her ill, and from there, things just continue to spiral out of control for Heidi's life. She's a recovering drug addict. She's trying to get over that, fight the demons of that off. Her landlord, Lacey, is, she's kind of a motherly type, but also, you recognize there are things bizarre about her. And Heidi is bothered by room number 5 there in their apartment building. The door opens, she sees something in it bizarre, the door closes, there's just something very eerie to it. There's rats coming out of the room, there's all this weird stuff going on with room number 5 also. Basically, once the record is played, the Lord's record's played, things spiral out of control, and for everybody involved with the movie, and I'll pretty much leave it at that. I don't want to get into spoiler territory, and, I haven't spoiled anything at all. It's pretty much, the synopsis that you're going to hear or see anywhere. But, like I said, the film's getting very mixed reviews, and once I watch this, I can definitely, without a doubt, understand why. Because this is a very art house style horror film, I guess you could say. It's not a mainstream film that everything is just laid out for you. It's a challenging film. Rob Zombie has made a challenging film. Yes, he has. And it's very, like, I guess you could say mid-70s Euro horror, kind of, I saw a lot of hints of Argento, even Fulci, not gore aspects, just some of the ways it's shot and some of the creature effects are very Fulci-esque, and also just the way it played out too. One time I've heard Fulci being quoted as saying, him and Argento are more into telling a story through visuals instead of a narrative. And I kind of got that out of this. Like, I didn't have any problem with the narrative. I was never lost. I knew what was going on. I mean, from reading the book, that also helps. But, I mean, just the movie on its own, there was never any time where I didn't understand what was going on, even clear up to the end. But he does throw some bizarre, weird imagery and dream sequences in there that, you know, it's going to throw some people off, I think. I mean, and that's what I mean by that aspect of Fulci and Argento, and just some of the slow, methodical, very planned out shots, you know, big, wide tracking shots that are very deliberately long. They take their time to unfold, and they move on and on and on. And I thought that that was really awesome. It really worked well. Everything was framed perfectly. Like if they were in a hallway, you know, you would see the perfect amount of a wall here matched up with the perfect amount of a wall over here, and it would just move perfectly. It was just brilliantly set up. But also I saw shades of Kubrick also in this, for that reason, and for other reasons too. Like, you know, room 237 in The Shining is the room to stay away from. Well, there's that kind of foreboding with room number 5 in this building. And then there's also other aspects, just how the whole building is just kind of weird and bizarre, and you know, and also just the slower type paced film, kind of on par with The Shining, is how the Lords of Salem is. And yeah, just some really bizarre stuff too. I don't know, I guess you could say a little bit of David Lynch, just weirdness. And yeah, I don't really know. I'm trying to think of who else to throw in there, name drop, as far as influences I saw on this. But that's the ones that immediately come to mind, and mainly, you know, it's the Fulci, Argento, and you know, Kubrick. That's the main influences I saw throughout this film. Sherry Moon Zombie is Heidi. You know, I was concerned when I heard she was cast. I was really concerned if she could pull this off. But I'm glad to say that, you know, I think she did a really good job. I mean, I think that out of all the films she's done with Rob Zombie so far, this is the most varied performance she had. Is it the best? I don't know, you know, because I really like the baby character, especially, you know, in House of a Thousand Corpses. I mean, I don't know if it's better than that, but I like how she showed more depth in this. You know, and the one thing I mentioned in my book review of this is, you know, this has better characterization than Rob Zombie's had previously in his other films. And I love it because that characterization that's in the book carried over into the film. You know, the trio, they're called the show's called The Big H, I believe. You know, of Whitey, Herman, and Heidi. You know, they have a good chemistry, and they do on film, and you believe that they're friends, you know, and that they've been doing this for a while. I think it comes off believable. I like Kim Foray. You know, he's kind of, you know, the smooth talking guy, you know, and excuse me once again, I'm sorry, I gotta share here. Newcastle's Founder's Ale I'm drinking tonight. I'm gonna take a drink. Pardon the interruption. But Jeff Daniel Phillips is Whitey. I really liked him. He had a small part in Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. He played a bouncer at the strip club that Michael just literally stomped his head in. But even in that little tiny role, I just saw something in him. Just, you know, Michael pushed him, and just his look like, oh. You know, it's just, there was something about him that I thought, you know, this seems like he'd be a pretty cool guy to have in something. I liked him in this film a lot. You know, he's really concerned about Heidi. He has an obvious crush on her. And I just really like him. I like him, and I hope to see him in more films also. And then Judy Gleason as Lacey was really good. I liked her. And then her two sisters, which is Megan, played by Patricia Quinn, and Sonny, played by Dee Wallace. I liked them. Dee Wallace is, I think, purposely a little bit over the top. All three of them are really, especially when it gets to certain scenes in the film, I'll say. But I liked all of them. And then, you know, the main witch, Meg Foster as Margaret Morgan. she was great. She was menacing and she was evil. I really liked her character a lot. I think she did an excellent job. I haven't seen her in anything for quite a while. I don't even remember the last thing I saw her in. But she does really good here. You know, one thing I have to mention is, you know, Rob Zombie kind of held back on the gore and the over-the-top violence. Now, there are a few violent scenes in this, you know, but he just doesn't go completely over the top with it like he has before. I'm not meaning that in a bad way. It's just he's kind of more restrained in this in that regard. But I think it worked to the material because he really plays up the satanic angle in this. And also I have to mention, also talking about the acting part, which I can't believe I passed over. Bruce Davison is Francis Mathis, which he is an author of witchcraft books about the history of witchcraft, and he's trying to help Heidi solve all this. He did a really good job. I don't think that character is as good in the movie as it was in the book. I don't think he was very believable. He just seemed very naive for some of the things in the story, for him to not know it with him supposedly being a witchcraft expert. Bruce Davison played it pretty good. I just don't think the character translated as well on screen as it was in the book. But yeah, back to the satanic angle. Rob Zombie really plays it up in this. There are some highly offensive things in this. Like if you are a religious person, you're probably going to be very offended by this if you take things too serious and, you know, can't look at it from just an entertainment aspect. There's some very, very offensive imagery in this and things that go on, and I'm kind of surprised that, you know, they got away with some of it, honestly. Yeah, what else can I say? Yeah, I just, you know, and I guess it'll just come down to, you know, what was my opinion on this, with people being so torn on this. Did I like it? Did I hate it? Did I love it? To be honest with you guys, I don't want to overhype this for anybody because, like I said, this is totally a film on a person-to-person basis. I've seen it time and time again. It's so divided. But for me personally, guys, I thought that this film was brilliant, and I don't throw that around very frequently when talking about films. I don't throw the word brilliant around very often when talking about films. But I think that The Lords of Salem was definitely brilliant. And honestly, when I watched it, I'm thrilled that this even got a limited release, because this is the furthest thing from a mainstream film you could possibly get. You know, I think if you go into this film not knowing at all what to expect, I mean, I think that's where a lot of the hate's coming from with, you know, just the general movie-going public. It's just, damn, man. I mean, I can understand why. But guys, I love the film. I thought it's easily his most visually arresting film. You know, I mean, certain things with the story, you know, I don't think it really worked too well. Like I said, with the Francis character, I didn't like that too well. But the complaints for me are very small on this. I love the look of it. Every single shot in this film just, it came off with just a dreading feel to it. Just the way the look of it is. It just had a dreading to it, an evil presence to this film. It's a very evil, anti-Christian film, I guess you could say. I just don't know how else to say it. But I loved it, guys. I absolutely loved it. I give it a 9 out of 10. And I don't know if I would recommend it. It's hard to say. It's just really hard to say. If what I've said sounds interesting to you, then check it out. But like I said, I'm not going to overhype it for anybody, because I realize some of you watching this that haven't seen it are going to watch it and think, how in the fuck can he say this film is brilliant? Just my personal opinion. So, you know, check it out for yourself. You know, every effect in this film is practical. I wish they would have played that up a little bit more. There is absolutely zero CGI in this film. So, you know, go support original horror. Go check it out, guys. That is Lords of Salem, and I am Jason. Yeah, so 9 out of 10 for me, and that's about all I got to say. So I hope you all are doing well. I'll talk to you soon. Later.